Hi everyone, welcome back. Dr. Angela here with you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Patty.
In this video, we're going to focus on autoimmune issues, how to heal autoimmune issues. A lot of you have been asking us questions about this, and Dr. Patty and I have actually been talking about this quite a bit in various other videos, but we realized it's not compiled in one place for you guys, so that is the focus of this video. We've done a lot of videos that are in depth on a lot of the things we're going to cover in this video, and we will put them in a playlist for you that you can listen to at the end that are more in depth on each. But we're going to go through 8 areas that are really helpful to get all autoimmune issues under control as good starting points. So,
and autoimmune can be anything from eczema and psoriasis. People don't necessarily think about these skin conditions as an autoimmune condition. They think of it more like a rash. It can be thyroid issues, Hashitomotos, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, basically any kind of imbalance where your body is attacking itself and sort of screwing up your immune system, to put it, simply and bluntly and plainly.
Yeah, and it's really one of those things where our body is trying to protect us, and something's gone a little bit haywire, and our immune system has gotten a little bit hypervigilant, and now this overzealous response to protect us is destroying our own body tissue. And so what we want to do is not wipe out the immune system, but we want to calm the immune system down so it stops attacking our own tissues.
And balancing, really it's all about a balance, because we want the immune system to be, out there scavenging and looking, but not going too crazy and not too relaxed where it's not
then we're sick all the time.
So autoimmune illness, imbalance, disease, symptoms, it can manifest in so many different ways depending on where your sort of default is and how your body's expressing. But what we're going to go over today are 8 main areas that would be helpful to address and look at and balance. That's going to help all autoimmune conditions.
Yeah, and for everyone, because many people do have genetic predispositions to autoimmune issues, but not everyone does. But everyone can use these 8 areas to really help the immune system calm down. So the one we're going to start with, because so much of our immune system is located here, is the gut. It's really important to address gut health, and there's a lot to addressing gut health, and Dr. Patty and I did a video talking about leaky gut that really talks about all of the areas needed to heal up the gut and really help balance the immune system via the gut. There's so much more beyond supplements to each of these areas that we're going to talk about, but to make it easy for you, anything that's supplement related we'll also put in the description box of this video, but it's also in all of the other videos that we're going to link to this video and put in the playlist as well.
And we'll also link it in the cards here. We'll put leaky gut in there and some of the other topics we're going to talk about. Basically, we've done a relatively in-depth video on each point that we're going to discuss today. And so instead of this turning into an hour-long video, which none of us have time for, we're going to go kind of summarize the 8 areas that you should look at and heal and work on healing. And then you can go a little bit more in-depth with these other videos that we keep talking about. So.
Definitely. And you may feel like you struggle in each of these areas. You may feel like only some of these areas apply to you. So incrementally you can look at these and see what feels like it, resonates the most for your situation. So starting with the gut, related to the gut, we also want to think about what's going into the gut. So diet is hugely important when we talk about keeping the immune system balanced. And Dr. Patty did a wonderful in-depth video on anti-inflammatory diet. So that'll be a great starting point for you guys. Definitely wanting to think about organic foods whenever possible, whole foods,
Yeah, really eliminating, processed, refined foods, anything that comes out of a bag or a box or a can, sticking to as much real foods as possible, whole foods. I've said this before, but we used to say in medical school, in naturopathic medical school, if you can name it, you can eat it.
That's
if you look at a carrot, it's called a carrot.
Yeah.
If you look at a cracker, unless you grew the grain and milled it and made that cracker yourself, which some people do. You know, you might make a flax cracker or an almond flour cracker or something homemade. But if someone just handed you a cracker, you don't know what's in that. So if you look at a food and you can name it, you can eat it. So that's sort of a rule of thumb. But of course, that can't happen 100% of the time. So just doing our best to stick to as much of an anti-inflammatory. And in that video that I did previously that Dr. Angela mentioned, we go into a little bit more specifics of foods that seem healthy,
Definitely.
you know, maybe like a potato or a tomato that for some people can create a little bit more inflammation. So definitely sticking to a more anti-inflammatory whole foods diet.
Yeah, and under that category would also be thinking about things that are allergens as well. So, you know, they may be a healthy food, but if you have an allergy or an intolerance to that food, for you, that is not a healthy food in terms of balancing your immune system. So just to be thoughtful there. So along the lines of anti-inflammatory diet, after we have that foundation figured out, we can also use some supplements that are really helpful for modulating the immune system. So just kind of keeping things in balance where we don't suppress our immune systems, but we calm down the hyperactivity. We just recently did that video. And so we only get 5 cards, so we'll link as many as we can in the cards, but then these will also go into a longer playlist for you guys. So after the supplements there, the next area that we really want to think about is detoxification. So kind of along the lines of like the fake foods list that we were talking about, we're just exposed to so many chemicals in our body. So being mindful of what goes in, but even through the skin, we've talked about cleaning products,
beauty products,
skin products.
Yeah, you know, there's so much we can't control in terms of pollution and what's put out into our environment, that the things that we can control, we can actually look at and make some changes. And not only is it detox about what's going in, but optimizing how our body is eliminating.
Definitely.
And we're gonna do an even more in-depth video. Dr. Angela did a great video a while back on some simple ways to detox, a shorter video, but we're actually gonna do a longer video. So let us know in the comments below if that's something that you would be interested in. But in short, again, not just what you put in or take in or breathe in or soak in, but also how's your liver doing? How are you pooping every day? Are you sweating in a healthy way? So ways to actually eliminate and making sure that that is optimized.
Definitely. And you know, if you're already working with a holistic doctor or integrative doctor, you can do things like get your metals tested. There's a bunch of ways you can also check and see. You can look at your genetics and see how are your detox pathways working. Some of us do things more efficiently than others. And so there are ways that we can optimize this. In a lot of our hormone balance videos, we've also talked quite a bit about supporting the liver, using certain supplements that will really help with detoxification. So I'll summarize those for you guys in the description box. You don't have to hunt everywhere, but a lot of our hormone videos also really go into detox, because if we don't balance out our detox pathways, we tend to really
We get
suffer.
a backlog of hormone metabolites, and then that it's sort of like a sink that's clogged, like it all builds up. But and that leads us to the next thing, or area to look at and treat, is balancing our hormones. So that can be our adrenals, our sex hormones, our sleep hormones, making sure that our endocrine system is healthy and strong and balanced. And this is going to really affect our autoimmune conditions as well.
Yeah, and a lot of the chemicals that are in the environment are endocrine disruptors, so hormone disruptors. They burden our liver, and so thankfully there's multiple ways to test for these things. There's multiple ways to address hormone balance, and again, lots of videos. We've done things on fibroids, we've done things on PCOS,
We did an older video about adrenals, and both of us really love the Dutch test, which is a test that has to be done through a functional medicine doctor or a naturopathic doctor, and looks at a whole gamut of your hormones. And so really looking, measuring, collecting some data, and then balancing out what needs to be addressed.
Yeah, there's also quite a few, blood markers as well, which we've talked about in our various videos. And so again, we'll link those in the playlist for you. Lots of good ways for us to just make sure we're doing our due diligence of making sure that this isn't a reason that your immune system has gotten flared up. Another big one is stress. We talk about stress over and over and over again. And so there's a lot of ways we can address stress. We can do it on our own with many healing practices. We can get professional help. And so we did another one on just supporting parasympathetic nervous system tone. And
how to get into that rest and digest, because we're all just rushing, and even if you're not necessarily feeling anxious per se, you don't have to feel anxious to be stressed in your body. So we tend to run a little bit too much on the sympathetic mode or fight or flight. And so we did do a video on how to get a little bit more into that rest and digest phase and how to stimulate your vagus nerve. And just a little hint, if you haven't watched that video, singing is one great way. Everyone thinks about yoga and meditation, but it can be singing, it can be dancing, it can
joy
be
practices.
Yeah, it can be coloring. That can be your meditation, journaling. So I will say this, I often say that, you see stress management on every list, and it's sort of a throwaway because it's so obvious, but it actually needs the most attention. And make sure that whatever you're doing for stress management or really processing your emotions and stress is done every day.
Yeah.
So a yoga class is great, journaling is great, but really something consistent every day. And if you can't take an hour-long yoga class, then journal for 5 minutes.
Yes.
Or do breath work or sing a song, but it has to be something consistent. It's like food. You can't just eat a big meal once a week and say, well, that's done with. We check that off the list.
So true.
My analogy is you don't have to have a 5-star 10-course meal every single day, nor would we want to, but you do have to eat something every day. So think of that with stress management. Don't let managing your stress become another stressor.
Yeah.
Because that can happen as well. Oh my goodness, I gotta meditate, I gotta pray, I gotta do yoga, I gotta, just do a little thing, but just do it every day.
Yeah, consistency is really key. Bringing it back up to sort of gut-related stuff, but this could be also other areas in the body. Infection is one to really think about. Sometimes we can have infection that we don't even realize in the body in various places, like dental issues. People can have all kinds of infections under the gum line and not realize that that's tripping up their immune system.
Or with my patients, sorry to interrupt, but
great.
I've had a lot of patients who we've tested for Epstein-Barr, also known as
viral.
mono, and they didn't even know they ever had it. And the blood work shows that they've had it before, and you may not know that it's been reactivated, or you may be having other little chronic viruses that you're not even realizing you have. So in addition to kind of hidden bacterial infections.
Yeah, and then also fungal issues. So just kind of checking thoroughly everywhere, and the digestive tract starts, if it is digestive, mouth all the way. It can be upper related, like SIBO testing is done. It can be lower digestion. You can do a lot of stool testing with your docs to figure that sort of thing out, but just ruling out low grade infections that aren't obvious but could be tripping up the immune system.
Because think about it, if there's a constant trigger and the immune system is constantly being turned on, then the likelihood of that things going awry are higher. Even a car gets turned off when you park it in the garage or a parking space or what have you. So an immune system, if I'm just constantly bugging the situation, then it's gonna be on overdrive, and then it can
confused and dysregulation can happen.
Imagine if you were just on all the time.
Some of us are.
Eventually you're going to be confused and tired and overworked and might make some wrong decisions, just like your immune system. Speaking of being on all the time, some of you are on all the time because you're not getting proper sleep. Whether you have some sort of imbalance or actual pathology where you're not actually sleeping, or some of you may be staying up late to do things or to watch TV or just other things where you're making the choice not to go to bed on time. So regardless of where that's coming from, if you're not sleeping We would say rule of thumb, 7 to 9 hours. Some people need a little
Definitely.
less, some people need a little more, but that's a good, and we're also wanting to do a more in-depth video on sleep. So if that's something that you're interested in, please let us know.
Yeah.
If you are someone who suffers from sleep issues, we'd love to discuss that further. But really making sure you're getting quality sleep, the right amount of sleep, and the right time of sleep. It's not just, it's not just 8 hours of sleep whenever you want it, 2 to 10 one day, 10 to 6 one day. You can't live in a state of jet lag in that way and have your body heal properly. So regular hours is also really crucial.
Yeah, regular hours quality. We did do a couple years ago a pretty good video that's pretty thorough, but there's so many aspects to why sleep gets dysregulated. So we'll definitely break that up some more and kind of, cover if it's a hormonal thing, if it's a stress thing, how to help you zero in.
Check out that older video that we did on sleep, because there are quite a few herbs and nutrients that we discussed that can really help calm the nervous system down and help with sleep.
Definitely. So these are 8 areas that will help your immune system a bunch if you zero in here. If you are someone who has had an autoimmune issue and you have successfully recovered or put it in remission, please share with the community which things were most helpful for you. If there's anything we didn't talk about in these 8 areas that were especially wonderful for you, please share.
And thank you so much, as usual, for watching. And also, as Dr. Angela was saying, we're going to put all relevant supplements that we mentioned or herbs from previous videos that go through these topics in the description box. So make sure to check that below. And then also, many people do ask, you mentioned GABA or you mentioned glutamine. Where can I get this? What brand is best? Because quality does matter. So we always link our dispensary, which gives you access to highest quality physician grade nutrients and supplements, the same ones that we prescribe in our office to our patients. So make sure to look down below in the description box for that. And just for being part of our community and supporting each other and us and being a part of our little family here, we do give just a 10% discount to anything in the dispensary that you order. You don't have to punch in a code or do anything. It's just automatic. So make sure to take a look at that if you're in need. And we will see you back next week.
Very soon. Thanks so much for being with us. We love you all.